the aircraft carrier that was sent in the wrong direction. Karen Travers, ABC News White House correspondent. Never a dull moment. I hope you're keeping a journal because I'd love to read your book when it's all said and done.
Or you'll feel like you've lived it all. There will be nothing left to say. This is certainly an interesting debate, confusion, misstatements. It's not quite even clear what it is. But yesterday, the White House press secretary was trying to clear things up, but in a sense, maybe added to the confusion. Here's what's the latest. Basically, this strike group is now heading north, as we thought was happening last week, towards the Korean Peninsula. After the president said last week, we're sending an armada, very powerful. We have submarines, very powerful. Well, that certainly suggests it was happening at that moment, right? I mean, it's present tense, not to parse all of the ing words, but it turns out that the Carl Vinson was actually going in the opposite direction, heading towards the coast of Australia for what was a previously scheduled military exercise with the Australian Navy. This was then determined last Friday that this was not where it was thought to be. And the White House still was facing a lot of tough questions about this yesterday. And they say right now it's a fact. The armada is going towards the Korean Peninsula. It happened. It is happening. And that is still correct with what the president said last week. But it's certainly really, I think, adding to a bit of the confusion on all of this.
While you're trying to figure out where the aircraft carrier is, the Patriots visit the Super Bowl. And were you there when Gronkowski jumped in?
I actually was live outside on the North Lawn doing some ESPN. So I missed that, but Twitter certainly exploded when it happened. And we were all looking at our phones. We said, oh, boy, Gronk just crashed the briefing room.
So
Sean Spicer certainly liked it.
So you missed doing your job because you were doing your job.
Exactly.
Yes.
We have to, clone ourselves. We need to be in 6 places at once.
So I want to stand up for Donald Trump and the White House here for a second. Mm-hmm. The New York Times tweeted out a photo that looked like there were less patriots this time than during, the Bush administration?
Yeah, this was a pretty aggressive, actually an Obama administration photo. A pretty aggressive and kind of surprising trolling from the New York Times sports section yesterday. Not sure if it was meant as a joke because of, the previous inauguration photo that the New York Times had tweeted.
Right.
But they showed this picture of the event and compared it to the one previously where there were people up the steps, along the up on the balcony of the South Portico. And the Patriots last night pushing back, retweeted then by the White House, by the press secretary, saying that in that other event, they actually had staff and, team officials who were standing up there, but this time they were sitting in the seats on the actual South Lawn.
Yeah, so the pictures clearly in the Obama administration, there are clearly more people President Obama, and yesterday there were less people behind President Trump. But the Patriots, as you mentioned, tweeted out, said, hey, there were 36 players with Obama. There were 34 players yesterday, so very comparable in the terms of numbers of people.
In terms of the players there. But, politics was certainly looming large on this yesterday. I've covered dozens of these events under the Bush and Obama administrations. Players sometimes skip it. It's their off season. They want to be with their families. They don't live in Boston during, the off season.
Right.
But yesterday was different. We hadn't seen it on a scale like that before, where you had at least a half a dozen players specifically saying they weren't coming because of the president's policies or past statements. We haven't seen that many before be so overt with the reason of why they weren't coming. A lot of the times they just say, oh, family issues, scheduling, I'm on vacation, whatever. But to see 6 players say because of the Access Hollywood audio, because of what he has said about immigrants, because of what he has said about this or that, that was something we haven't seen before.
Do you want to call out any of your media colleagues that were fawning over the Patriots and their victory and their Super Bowls?
I absolutely will not, because if the Eagles win the Super Bowl and come, I will be one of those people. So, I joked yesterday when the Phillies came in 2009, the journalistic integrity was out the window. We were allowed to be fans for 35 minutes.
All right. Karen Travers, ABC News White House correspondent. Thanks for checking in, Karen.
Thank you.
All right, 7:55.